What is going on? Welcome back to a brand new video. If you're new, please subscribe. Today we are talking about KSI again, and no, we're not talking about the Wade drama. We're not talking about any of that, because today KSI is in the actual literal news. This story has gotten so big. He's on Sky, BBC, all the major news outlets because a clip emerged from a brand new Sidemen video in which KSI said a racial slur. This is the exact clip as it was shown on the Sidemen video.
Look, we need points in it, all right? I don't mean this maliciously, but the word I'm sorry. We need points. Guys, come on.
And if you don't know, the word he was using was the P word. People try and say now it's only an abbreviation for Pakistani person, but it really isn't, especially someone like me, KSI, or whoever who's actually grown up or lived in London. The weight of that word and how it's been used over the years, it has always been a word you don't throw around and you don't say. So to see KSI, the biggest influencer in the UK, say it in a Sidemen video for points, it's a countdown game. He could have just not said it, used his head and thought, you know what, probably won't say that. But a lot of people were extremely outraged with KSI. Been a KSI fan for the longest, but so weird for him to say P word in the latest Sidemen video, even if they bleeped it and it was in jest for content. Other racial slurs wouldn't be used as punchline for YouTube game shows, just makes light of the word plus certain people's experience. Yeah, imagine it was Simon's go for the countdown and he just started saying the N-word. Man, the backlash would be insane. In fact, the Sidemen team didn't edit it out, suggests they were fine with it, in which is so mad to me. They didn't think the use of the word for cheap laughs was an issue. That minimizes the topic's significance. Racial abuse towards Asians is taken less seriously more of the time. That is so true as well. Like, how has this gone through all the Sidemen process, you know, the filming, the editing, even the reviewing of the video? How has that process taken place and they not thought, you know what, probably shouldn't include this in our Sidemen video? Like, that is completely baffling. Sad thing is, I've seen there's far fewer vocal South Asian voices in entertainment media with public platforms, so even when it's made insignificant, there's not really a point of it, which is why I can't be silent on it really. Just blatant disrespect. Sidemen have a whole team of people that see their videos before they're released, and no one thought KSI saying P word was inappropriate enough to cut out of their latest video. Racism towards South Asians is so normalized, no one even sees a problem with it. Fuck KSI, Chunks, Philly, and all these fucking Sidemen. How are mans out here using racist slurs and the rest just sit there and laugh? Social media got people too comfy, cancel them all. People say racist remarks and then play victim. A lot of people as well saying how everyone there is just laughing, thinking it's the funniest thing KSI has ever said. It reminds me of like kids at school. Just the fact that it's shocking gets people to laugh, which, you know, it isn't. And especially when you have a massive platform like KSI. I don't know if it's different generations or what, but a lot of KSI fans have been tweeting me saying that that word is just an abbreviation, there's nothing wrong with it, or if it's more of a London British thing, because I know for a fact, and I've seen it firsthand with some of my friends, that word has complete and utter racial connotations and has been used in horrific ways. I dare not think how everyone react like had a white personality said the N-word. The P word is as offensive. Shameful editing to think it's even remotely funny to keep it in the edit. Shows how out of touch the Sidemen really are. Racism isn't banter. Nah, KSI, you're not funny. You cannot say P in any context. These lot will do anything for content. He said with his whole chest, and he made it clear he knew he was saying a slur. The whole group laughed at it like he said something funny. Then they decided to keep this part in while editing the video and published it. Like, what are you trying to do? That was also weird to watch in this clip. Like, KSI, like, he's like building it up, you know, saying how it's not offensive, but he's gonna say it anyway. You know, the comparison I think is valid. Imagine Simon sitting there being like, guys, you know, this word, I need it for the points, but I'm gonna say it. I don't mean it, but I'm gonna say it. And just starts like blasting the N-word in that video. Not only was what he said beyond sickening, I can't get my head around the fact the whole team would have sat down and thought it would be a good idea and funny to release it. This is so poor, man. Everyone laughing along, it making it through the editing process too. Anyone thinking, maybe this isn't acceptable to put out as well. Shameful all round. I don't believe KSI is racist, but the fact the clip was published in the first place and the way everyone in it was laughing it off clearly highlights that unfortunately racism and racial slurs against South Asians are just not taken seriously. Just watch this video. Never had an issue with KSI, he's always been a lovely guy with me. But this comes back to something I always talk about. The word P and racial abuse of South Asian is just not taken seriously enough. Frightening that it wasn't completely edited out. And people are trying to label it, oh, it's just cancel culture. And a lot of these people just don't understand what the P word actually is and how actually it has a lot of history, especially in the UK. So I actually researched and found some threads and some posts for people watching who maybe are a bit more unfamiliar. This one, the P word, Pakistani racial slur. A common misconception is that the P word is a shortened version of the word Pakistani, similar to the word Scot for Scottish people. I can't tell you, after talking about this, how many tweets I got from KSI fans who have no other thing to say other than it's a shortened abbreviation. Like, the P word has a deeper, darker meaning. Violent attacks from the 1960s to 1990s against South Asians were also known as P bashing. The attackers were supporters of the far-right fascist, racist, anti-immigrant movements, BNP and the National Front, supported by the British media's anti-immigrant and anti-Pakistani rhetoric, and by the systemic failures of the British authorities. These attackers were formerly known as P bashers and skinheads. During 1985 alone, there were around 20,000 racist attacks on British people of colour, mainly P bashing. Talking about going to P shops or call others dirty Ps is a reminder of the suffering our parents and grandparents had to endure, the suffering that we still endure. Due to the fact I got a lot of tweets and a lot of people just using this as a defense who just don't understand the word is an actual slur. Something like this could be good so they actually understand why it has weight. Grew up in London, a very multicultural part of London. I've seen that word be thrown around horribly. However, obviously, if you live in another country or maybe a less multicultural place, and maybe you haven't, and maybe you didn't even know it was a slur. If you live in the UK, you definitely know not to use that word. Look, I understand as well, a lot of people come to this video be like, oh, Kavos is here, he just wants to bash KSI, blah, blah, blah. Whatever, I understand you have that opinion on me because me and KSI don't get on. However, Smile to Jana actually made this video, and I think he really puts it into perspective, and it's just a good video to watch. He tweeted out, KSI used the word P in his latest Sidemen video, and the rest of them laughed away. He has apologized, but what's worse is how some Gen Z South Asians were claiming, well, we aren't offended, let's talk. So yeah, here's this video now. After this, we'll get into the apologies and everything else and the response from KSI and the Sidemen.
Assalamu alaikum, guys. I'm sure you've seen the clip of KSI, the famous British YouTuber. Alongside the Sidemen, they were doing some sort of countdown in which KSI used the Paki word, which is a racial slur against South Asians. In fact, it's used against anyone of a brown color. And I'm seeing certain people in the comments saying, oh, I'm Asian, I'm Pakistani, and I don't see it as an offense. I don't see it as something bad. With all due respect, that's because you haven't had to live through that being sprayed at you, not even spoken and shouted at you, just sprayed at you in the way that it happened to our parents and our grandparents. They're the ones that get to decide, because they're the ones that actually paved the way for us to come here, not you sitting at home, most of your times probably spent in a digital realm anyway, with people that you can't even see. I mean, things are okay now. It may not be used in such a derogatory way now, but the way it's been racially charged and used as hatred, as our mothers, sisters and brothers and fathers were being bullied using this term. It be Indian, Bangladeshi, Pakistani, Sikh, whether you're part of a culture or religion, if you're brown, even black people were kind of used, these terms were used against them. So rather than jumping up and being that self-loathing brown guy, oh, I'm okay with it. With all due respect, learn your history. Learn your history, and then you will not be making such mistakes. And KSI's response was, look, I apologize, and that's good. It's good that he's apologized, but then he goes on to say, that's why I say don't keep me on a pedestal. That's why I say I'm not a good role model. And you don't have to be off a pedestal, or you don't have to be somebody that's not a role model to be able to identify basic common slurs. That's a slur. And, that's not really acceptable of somebody at his stature. I mean, look, I understand a lot of people are snowflakes. This is not a snowflake thing. It doesn't get more clearer than this. You know what I'm saying?
So KSI today issued an apology. I want to apologize for saying a racial slur in a recent Sidemen video. There's no excuse, no matter the circumstances. I shouldn't have said it, and I'm sorry. I've always said to my audience that they shouldn't worship me or put me on a pedestal because I'm human. I'm not perfect. I'm going to mess up in life. And lately, I've been messing up a lot. So I've decided I'm going to just take a break from social media for a while. Yeah, I mean, the comment about don't put me on a pedestal or worship me because I might say a slur in a video is kind of weird. I don't know why he said that. Just say sorry, just apologize. I'm not sitting here at all, and I don't think anyone thinks KSI is an actual racist. I think he's just an idiot who should have known better. Sidemen also issued an apology. Sidemen, during yesterday's Sidemen Sunday, a racial slur was said during the video. We accept that it was completely unacceptable and inexcusable. The fact that incident was made light of on the show was wrong and compounded the hurt. We deeply regret this and would like to truly apologize. We have reflected on this incident both collectively and individually and are truly ashamed that we let ourselves and you guys down in this way. We want to use our channels to promote positivity and great entertainment. We stand against racism and discrimination of any kind, and we failed to do that. Again, we are truly sorry and promise to do better. Yeah, I mean, the Sidemen, the whole machine, you know, it went through it completely unscathed and unchecked. KSI again in the crosshairs. It's completely moronic from him, and we'll see what happens and how long his break lasts. But yeah, that is it for this video. Until next time, fuck off.